into credit patterns and everything. But still, teaching is a very noble profession, I must say. Pedagogy in teaching can be referred to as an educator's understanding of how students learn and the different styles in which the teacher presents the syllabus. It is a different way of delivering knowledge to the students. All the children are different at each and every level. Coming down at their level, understanding the class, what you say is requirement. The teachers deliver the classroom session according to the required need of the students. In a classroom session, also, if you all will agree, we have a different cadre of students. Some belong to a very good percentage, some belong to an average, some below the average. So a teacher has to deliver the classroom session in such a way so that it comes to an understanding of all the students. This can be done in different ways. The second next slide we go on, which says an example of teaching pedagogy is solving some real world scenarios, real problem solving activities. This can give students a new application of skills and a better idea of how knowledge fits into a classroom session. So, majority of us use the old conventional method. Before COVID, of course, yes, because we were much into this chalk and talk method. If you don't give me a chalk and a duster in the class, I will not be able to go to the class. This was a concept before COVID, I must say. But due to this COVID generation, what we have learned is we have learned to a mobile technology, which can, where we are sitting here right now and we are from different states across, we can listen to each other, deliver ideas. So teaching is now both ways. Where students can come across and deliver their thoughts. Even teachers can deliver the thoughts from anywhere. So this is how teaching has been transformed, I must say. We are connected to a new internet world of education. And thanks to this stage we were to be coming, but maybe not now, in a few 10 years down the session. But due to COVID, this has given us wheels to work on fast. So pedagogy is nothing but a simple different taking up different ways, methods of delivering the ideas to the students, or in other words, syllabus curriculum to the students outside the that can be inside the knowledge, outside the knowledge, knowledge as well. Can we go to the slide? This is a gist of what is teaching pedagogy. I'll just go through the sub points. Refers to the way of teaching students in theory or practice. Now, we also have the practical knowledge. Like we don't have only theoretical part to be completed, what I deliver and the students listen to me. It's both way. It's practice also must. It's a relationship between culture and teaching techniques of learning. We all come from a different backgrounds, the teachers, the facilitators, or I must say the educators, even the students. So even cultural influences are also there. So when I say we come from a different culture and a background, but we come to a common platform to deliver the contents which are already given to us. A well-designed pedagogy, so it mainly aims of the pedagogy to build a previous learning of the students, to work on the development of skills and attitudes. Because see, ultimately, after acquiring knowledge, we have to use it. Knowledge is acquired, money is earned. So we have to acquire some skills which are required for a job or a profession. Pedagogy plays a very crucial way. The way I deliver a lecture present becomes a different way of outcome-based learning as well. A well-designed pedagogical approach can help students develop, foster critical thinking, problem-solving techniques, creativity among students. I hope I'm going at a very usual scale of the lecture. On the other hand, a poor pedagogical approach can create lack of motivation, disengagement, and boredom. Like if the teacher continuously goes on delivering a particular session in the classroom, it becomes quite boring, and the students feel disengaged in the class. So nowadays, teachers have different ways of engaging students in the class. Maybe a role play. We come to the different methods still. And so we have to be on the toes. And nowadays, it's an internet era. Whatever knowledge you give to the students already have it. What are we giving them something new, a part of what they don't have in Google or something? This is the most important reason why does a child come to a class or a student come face to face. There is important for educators to understand the impact of pedagogy on learning processes and continuously improve their teaching methods to ensure the positive learning outcomes. So this is how what you we have for teaching pedagogy. It's nothing but different ways how a educator presents his thoughts, innovative ideas, so that listener or the student become focused in the class and have something positive out of it. But it nowadays it relies to both the theory and the practical world as well. In fact, nowadays we are much more investing on the job trainings and internship programs, wherein the teacher or the facilitator also plays an important role of what basic skills are to be acquired by a student to go out in some other else organization and work for it. So teaching pedagogy is very important method how the content is being delivered in the classroom session. It's the best thing for who says delivering effortlessly. Can we go to the next slide, please? Learning skill. Teaching is what in olden days was a like disciple sitting under a tree and the guru was there, gave them a lot of knowledge, a lot of practice sessions and everything. Teaching was considered as an art form. Even nowadays, teaching is an art. Skill that can be improved at different development levels, causing people to learn. A facilitator who helps you to develop modern skills. The people
Excuse me, ma'am.
develop students so that they understand this.
Excuse me, ma'am.
In other words, if I put in
Deepa, ma'am.
simplifying the
Excuse
last
me, ma'am.
and final, teaching is you do.
Excuse me, ma'am. Deepa, ma'am.
Card swipe, they do, and the balance is being deducted from the pay's account, and the bill is being generated and handed over to you. I'm sorry to interrupt, but at my end, my internet is good and everything is perfect. Can you please check at your end if the voice is breaking? I hope there is no issue, right?
No, ma'am. At
Hello,
times your voice was breaking, ma'am. That's why.
am I audible?
Deepa, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You're audible, ma'am. But at times you're not. We were not able to hear you, ma'am. Your voice
Now,
was breaking. That's why. And now it is audible, ma'am. At times, ma'am. Not always.
am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am. You're audible
One
now, ma'am.
second, one second. Yeah, now I have switched on to another connection. Hello.
Yes, ma'am. You can continue, ma'am. Now it is audible
Yes.
and fine, ma'am. You can continue, ma'am.
Thank So a simple case example, if we stay in a hotel and we swipe a card. So what was happening? This card was being swiped and the amount was being deducted. Say for example, the payment was done in dollars. The bill was $99.95 and the amount being swiped was for 99.96 or 9.995. So a point difference of dollar is a 0.1995. Hardly matters or somebody doesn't even look after. A customer who stayed 12 times in the hotel swipe the card for 12 months or 12 times. What happened during this era? At the end of the year, the customer saw the whole transaction where this point differences was considered. And this was not done by the system, but it was done by somebody who was personally entering the bill amount there. When the swipe was done, it was 0.05 times more, which you converted into Indian rupees comes into around thousands. So this fraud was done purposely. Okay? So this is a classroom session, a case study which we present when we do this. This no book has this content. So case study is one of the most important way of how teaching can be delivered, and this simple bank fraud can be coming into picture. Later on, that person was taken into, some things were done by for that person against him. So learning is a process which involves cognitive, emotional, and environmental influences and experiences which should be shared by the instructor or the facilitator. Making changes in learners' knowledge, values, and world views. Of course, when you come together, you share thoughts. The views of particular people change. Process focuses on what happens when the learning takes place. Learning is what the student does. Now, here is a proper difference between teaching is what you do as a facilitator. Learning is what does the student understands or the student does after you explain him. So there is one more important thing in communication, which is says that feedback is the most important ending of the communication process. So that whatever you understood can be explained to me back. So teaching is what we do in a classroom. Learning is what the student does in the classroom. I think that should be at a balance. Okay, can we have the next slide, please? We come to questions at the end. Teaching methods. Methods of teaching, like we have basically two methods: the conventional method and the modern methods. Coming to conventional methods, which were the traditional ways, lecture method, which I can think we are also doing the same now. With only the thing is it's online using internet. Dialogue mode, delivery of dialogues. Discussion method, the best example is group discussion. Activity based learning, giving you some kind of activity which you do, and I'll look into the results. These are all the contemporary conventional methods. The modern methods are one more thing I would like to add here in contemporary methods have authoritative style, where the teacher continuously goes on dictating notes or giving you some sessions or problems, and the student just completes and give it back to you. Delegator style, I delegate some work onto you and I don't give you the instructions. You follow them, you know how to do it, and you give me back. Facilitator, I'll come sit with you and I'll help you. Facilitator style. I'll sit with you and I'll help you to solve this problem and explain you the content more nicely and effectively. In traditional methods, demonstrator style is also very good. Like a teacher delivering, doing a problem on the board, that is a demonstrative style. Or I want to show you something, I'll do it and then you all do it. That is a way, a school method. Hybrid style, selecting any of these two can give you a better way of learning. Two methods combined together. Coming to modern methods, I'll just go ahead with that. Modern methods, I'll tell you, which is in the next coming slides. I'll just give you the headings. Collaborative learning, a flipped classroom session, self-learning, crossover learning. We have it. Now, teaching methods, how do we select? As a facilitator or a teacher, I would like to bring to this notice that how do you select a particular, which method should I go and use for the students, depending upon the large group and a small group teaching method. A small group, lecture demonstrations, seminar panel discussions, or team teaching can be very effective, where you have the audience around, say, 50 or 70 or 100 in numbers. Where I have a very small group like 10, 12, 15, or 20, group based discussions, role play, or a 5, 10 people around, brainstorming, project method, simulations, and tutorials, where you can sit one to one with the student and explain the student what is the outcome of it, and it can help them to do that particular task. But for a large scale group, we cannot do this because again the constraint of time and number comes there. Can we go to the next slide, please? Where we have the importance of pedagogy in teaching. Why the method, selection of a method becomes so important while teaching? Because normally, if I take you 10 years back, it was only the chalk and talk method where the teacher enters a class, gives you some things to do. If a maths class, go ahead with the chalk numbers. problems, finish it off. Accounts class, take a problem, solve it, and finish it off. But nowadays, this is changing. This scenario is continuously changing. Pedagogy art type. Why? What is the need and importance of teaching pedagogy? The first one improves quality of teaching. If I continuously use a chalk and a duster and I come to a class and do a problem, it can sometimes be boring for the students. Or in other words, very simply explained, a practical example. If I open a textbook, the same sum I'll solve, which is there in the textbook also. So it becomes a little boring for the student because they have the solution, they have the problem. Instead, a new way, the same thing put in a new way, like old wine in a new bottle. Take up from problems which are not solved in the textbook, bring those problems, give it to the class. They will be more interestingly doing it with you. Improves quality of teaching. If you 5 times you take a book, takes problem from the book, sixth time you come a change with a new problem. So this is how they will check the knowledge, what they've gained. They will help, that will help them to understand the clarity of the topic. Next, here only we have encourage cooperative learning environment. If two of them are sitting, they can help each other. Eliminates monotonous learning. Every day there is some curiosity in the class that we are going to do something new. Okay, not the same continuous old boring thing. Students can follow their way of learning. Yeah, if you have a method of doing the problem, go ahead. I'll help you with doing that also. If the facilitator comes and tells you that, not sticking to the purpose, the same method which the facilitator does, always does. Convenient learning approach for all and teacher student communication. If this improves the teacher student communication in a long way. Of course, if throw a problem on you and I'll help you to do it, this creates a good bond between the teacher and the student. So important, the methods are very important. Like if I have a role play, I'll give you a situation and I'll tell you two of you come and play this role and help the class. That is the most effective way in the learning teaching process. Can we go to the next slide, please? Effective pedagogies in higher education, effective ways of modern teaching in higher education. Why higher education? Up to school, I can say now that even school students are very smart and they have technology in their hands. So the teacher who goes to the class has to be well updated and with the current knowledge as well. But then if you can imagine in higher educations, what happens? The content what they have is already put on the university website or the college website. They know the content, they know the syllabus. Why anybody will come to the classroom? This is the only thing why we should, in the higher education system, be more effective while delivering the curriculum. And what brings them newness in the class? Think, pair, and share. What information you have, it's not necessary. I'll also have the same information. So we can think alike or different way until unless we don't pair ourselves with the colleagues, with the higher students in the higher classes and the lower classes. So this is a very effective technique where you have think, pair, and share. And a student only from the same other division can help us sharing new ways, innovative methods. Even teachers in the same era, same vicinity can exchange notes with the students, can come and explain a topic in college collaborations as well. So think, pair, share is a very effective medium in the higher educations. Teaching approaches, strategies, etc. you need. Teaching approach. We should always have a positive approach towards delivering a content. So I can think we'll have a positive approach from the end side to receive it also. Otherwise, attendance compulsory. So you come to my class. This is something which we should not do. We do. Then strategies, have different strategies. I will not tell you every now and then have a different strategy. Throw it on the student will grasp. But at least in a month, once we can have this different strategy of delivering a lecture. Sometimes a chalk and talk method, sometimes a presentation approach, sometimes a video approach. There are very informative movies, informative YouTube things which we can share with the students. This will have only a different effect how to bring into a modern way of teaching. Why selection is very important? Yeah, selection of media is very important for engaging the classroom sessions. Visible learning, I have a slide for visible learning, but a way of understanding things. If I go on continuously delivering a content, that will distract half of the people. If you have something there on the screen, visible, that will at least 5% of the people will be engaged in that too. Next, we have collaborative learning and cooperative learning. Cooperative learning is the where the students come together and cooperate with each other, I must say, along with the learner, along with the teacher, and go with the things. Collaborative collaborative learning is where you have a group of students coming together and delivering a output. I must say, delivering an output. I give you a particular content, you frame it on it, and I'll give you an assignment kind of thing, and you come with the output. Collaborative learning, where the classroom, same colleagues come together and do a particular work. Can we go to the next slide? The pedagogy approach. Why is it important? It's very important. I must say it's a need of the day. The five major approaches of pedagogy learning are: the first one is constructivist. The second one is collaborative. Which approach should you take up and why? Because we have simple example for these: integrative, reflective, and inquiry based. Let's go with the first one, that is constructive. In constructive methods, it is that the students are allowed that the students are allowed to present in the students are willingly present in the process. They understand the content, what is being taught. They gain knowledge rather of just passively receiving the information. Constructivist is an approach, pedagogy approach, where the student is present in the process, understanding the content, gaining knowledge rather than just passively taking up what I'm going to tell you. So this is what you say is constructivist method approach. Second approach, what we have is a collaborative one, which we had just completed too. But the students from groups of learners, collaborative is groups collaborating together, learner to learn together, work together to solve a particular problem or a case study, build strategies, ideas, create products. I have this content, so I'm sharing with you, or complete a task. So I'll give you a task, I'll help you to do it, but I throw it on the group. The group will complete together as a collaborative assignment and finish the task. This is also called as the joint intellectual effort by the whole team or the group of members. Even the teachers can assist the students. A collaborative way of working is more easier. This approach is more easier and adopted by many of us, where the students come to in a group, learn together, work together, solve a problem together, build strategies, create products, or complete a task. Joint intellectual efforts, in other words. Third one is integrative approach. What happens in this approach? The students are given a learning environment that helps them in connecting with their learning across the syllabus. A learning environment, a reading room, a library, an internet connection, or you can say a learning ground with all the facilities, even the instructors, even the facilitators who help them to come together, integrate with each other, and complete a particular task or complete the whole syllabus across. I'll tell you, the four main objectives of integrated approaches: we understand the process of learning, then differentiating the issue importance, making use of lessons in a practical scenario. Nowadays, practical approach is given a more important tasks, associating the concepts in regular lives. So this is what all you have in this kind of approach. Then you have one more reflective approach. In reflective approach, what the students are expected to do things on their own. You give them a problem, let them come back to you reflective and evaluate themselves. I have given you a task of 50 marks. You evaluate on yourself. You gain the answers also, get it, like a Google Forms shared with you. And you come back to it, evaluating your own selves. If I gain out of 50, 30 marks, I'll evaluate myself as 30% and I'll come back to you, or 60%. It means observing the activities of teachers and the students in the classroom and analyzing why and where I am short. The last one is inquiry based learning. Inquiry based learning is a specific mindset of students, I must tell you. Educators are expected to not answer their queries in the straight form, but also build a culture where the ideas are being explored. Inquiry based learning. I know the answer, but if you come to ask me, I'll not give you it in a direct way, I'll give you it in an indirect way so that you build an inquiry in your mind how to get this done. It's challenging. It improves your brain to think in all the directions, and it's a refined approach. Basically, this approach is not applicable. This type of approach will not be applicable to the whole classroom session. Only, I must say, the ones who are very inquiry based learning students that way. So it aims to take the students from one position to another position where wondering why the answers are being to be not answered in the class, but we have to do it on our own self. So these are the five basic approaches: constructive, involve the child; collaborative, let them do together; integrative, let the educator bring together; reflective, evaluate your own self; inquiry based. Inquiry based will go with a higher set of students where they on their own solve this and come back to us. Inquiry, build a curiosity to them. Thank you. Yeah. Next, impact of pedagogy on the learner. Now, what is the impact of the method to be selected on the learner? Basically, now up to now, what we have done on the teacher, the how does the teacher deliver, the facilitator deliver? What is the impact on the learner? First one is if I select a student centric approach, in this approach, the student takes the responsibility for learning in their ways. Student centric. You throw a topic to them, explain them, they will learn it, come back to you in their own form. Responsible student, I must say. Student centric. Continuous assessment of students. Yeah, this can be one of the best things which we do. Teacher evaluates the students on regular basis to see that is there any improvement or moving towards a targeted outcome. Every month assessment, a test, or a surprise test, in other words. So first one is student-centric approach where the learner takes the responsibility to learn on their own. From the teachers and continuous assessment of the students is done to understand that is a child or is a student involving towards improvement on the lines of improvement towards a targeted outcome. Third impact on the learner will be it encourages teamwork. Team study encourages teamwork and group projects for the students to meet like-minded individuals and work on them. We normally have project-based cases where you allot a group of students together and they help each other to do a particular or complete a particular task. What happens in this way? If I've been given a particular marketing task to a particular group, sell this product and come, five of them will come together, analyze the situation, like-minded. How can I bring more into sales, bring more into profits, like that? So they will work towards one goal where they'll have like-minded individuals. Next, last one is for this method is develop cognitive skills. It helps students to develop cognitive skills using evaluation, detailed analysis, comprehensive and application on the courses. Brain, I must say their brain starts working. Not a sleepy session, but a good informative session. There is a small exercise which the students are given in MBA institutes. A small example I would like to share here. Cognitive skills developing. Leave a group of two, three students together or a single student as well. Leave them on the road. On the road means give them some task. No money, no mobile phone, nothing. Tell them at the end of the day, you have to earn rupees 100, which will be added in your marks. See the way their brains start working in a positive direction, of course, and they start earning that money. Go clean somebody's car, not a problem. It's an MBA assignment given to you. 100 rupees you have to earn at the end of the day without a mobile, nothing, no relative contact. Go to a particular store, do some sales for them, and ask them some wages in return. Next thing can be go to a parlor, a girl, a boy, or a saloon, deliver your services, earn from it. Take somebody's load on one day, deliver it to some other place, earn it that way. Go to a mall, go to a shop in that mall where safety is, of course, a concern. and help them in their services and earn it. So this is a group task given to particular students and they earn onto it. This develops a cognitive skills on the part of the student. Why is this important? This is very important because until unless we don't give them a situation, they won't function. And if you give them a situation, I'll tell you, they come up with good colors, I must say. Okay, can we go to the next slide, please? Types of pedagogy. Now, different ways of selecting a particular medium we have seen. In the first slide, I told you pedagogy is nothing but a way of teaching or a method selected for teaching. Why is it important? The types. The first one, the five types are listed, four types are listed below. The first one is social pedagogy. What does this mean? The goal of social pedagogy is to help students develop their social awareness and overall well being. See, morals are more important. Value based teaching has become the importance of the day. So, moral instruction and the teaching of values are essential. Nowadays, at a postgraduate, undergraduate level, we have value education. We are so back in the values. So, social pedagogy, the goal of social pedagogy is to help students develop social awareness, social causes, and how we can be a part of the society and help them. Learning only accounts, maths, English is not important until unless we do good for the society. If I do a research work, what good it will do to the society? The first outcome is based that way. Second, critical pedagogy. It aims to comprehend and dissect various problems and issues that arise in daily life and how to solve them. This is the most important thing. It motivates the student to delve the further and attempt to comprehend their thoughts and beliefs on a particular subject. This is the most important thing where I say critical pedagogy. It aims to dissect information and problems and issues that arise in daily lives, how to solve them, a critical thinking developing and bringing back to the solution for this. Third comes culturally responsive pedagogy. This approach takes into account cultural diversity of students. I want to go to some other state in India and study. Of course, my cultural background will hit me hard that time. And what I have studied, maybe the culture of that country is little different or the state is little different, but I have to adopt onto it. It aids to understand cultural differences and help students and raise awareness of such differences in the classroom session as well. Nowadays, I'll tell you in Maharashtra, we are going 40% offline and 60% in the classroom. Maybe a university in Tamil Nadu, be a vice versa. No, 100% in the classroom or 100% online. So these things we should adopt. I told you before COVID situation, what happened was we never thought of that I'll have a classroom session, which is I'm sitting at home nicely on my bed and having a tea and I'm understanding the session or I'm explaining it. Never ever have we thought. But as per the situation we got, we analyzed it, we overcome it, and we overcame it, and we are in a session, we are online. ये टेक्नोलॉजी लाते लाते हमें 10 साल लग जाते थे बट थैंक्स टू इट और द आउटकम इज सो गुड. So how culturally, how creative, how critically we should come to a situation. Socratic pedagogy. It encourages students to learn more from the outside sources in addition to what is taught to them in the class. Like I gave you that bank example, fraud example. That is not written in any of the book. But as we explained them, we came to this knowledge and we shared them. So next time, if you swipe a card, be very careful. Look at the bill amount and the swipe amount. This creates an awareness, societal. So in addition to what you're giving to the student in the classroom, this aids the student in coming up with new approaches of the issue. Maybe the child can say, we'll put some effective detector in it where the card can be blocked or something. So these are the new things which can be taken into consideration. So types of pedagogy becomes the more important way or the more important method. Can we go to the next slide? Pedagogy methods. Quickly, we'll this complete. Pedagogy has helped students and teachers find interesting ways facilitating learning and teaching. Let's understand various methods. Teacher centric, student centric. Teacher centric, direct instructions we can give you. Solve by example. I'll do a sum on the board. I means the teacher. Kinesthetic learning, to perform rather than give instruction. It is also called as tactile learning. The student comes together and do a physical activity instead of some online delivering or just delivering. In short, it becomes an active participant instead of becoming a passive listener. Student centric pedagogy, differential methods of instructions are given. Inquiry based learning, I told you. Inquiry based learning is a best effective method. Give a student a problem and let them think, come back to you. Give them a way of doing the things. Don't show them the end. Expenditory learning, personalized learning, game based learning. Game based learning is the most effective in all the classes, not only in the school kindergarten sections. In all the, we have professional sessions delivered for big firms where we have game based learning. Play simple games, leadership games. See the qualities of people, hire them for that particular end. So, this is a method where we have given them a leadership task. We knew that out of this group, this is an effective leader because in the game, he or she stood out. Give them a task. If he shines out, you have a leader in the organization. So, in the classroom, also, we can do the same thing. Can we go to the next slide, please? Pedagogy and design. Why this pyramid I've shown you? If you come to the top of the pyramid, the methods, what we select in the classroom, lecturing, only 5% of the students are attentive. It's just a general research taken up. 5% of the students listen to what we say in the class. If we have a reading class, 10% of become more effective. And because मेरा chance आ रहा है तो मुझे वो line read करनी है. Yeah, if you have an audio visual session, 20% of the students cater to it long because you have an audio and video and sound effect. If I demonstrate, I do a particular problem on in the class, 30% of the students are engaged. Rest 70, God knows. Discussion groups. Yes, if I have my turn of discussion, I involve 50% of the students in my class. This is a general perception research. Simulation by practice doing, 75% of you accommodate. Yes. Teach others. If you learn and explain it to others, you that means you have understood the concept 100% or 80%. So this is a general scenario. If you learn to teach somebody else, you gain a maximum knowledge. Because tomorrow, if you start asking me something, a doubt, which I don't know, how will I answer you? It's just listening. Take a cup of tea, sit behind and listen to whatever blah blah is going on the class. A 5% register hoga brain mein. But on the other hand, if you take up all these methods, we do a small exercise in our workplace. We make a group of students or they come together on their own. What I have taught in the class, the others teach the students who are absent. That is, teach others what you have in the classroom session. And trust me, it's the most effective methods in a classroom session. Okay, let's go to the next slide, please, where we have the most important learning strategies for modern pedagogy. First one is crossover learning. What do you mean by crossover learning? We have after school clubs, which are known as can link educational content with them. Learning in schools and colleges can be enriched by day-to-day informal learning. Crossover learning is informal learning. I, being a common student, can go to an arts club and learn what they have taught them. Crossover learning. The next one in this session, in this we have learning through argumentation, discussion. In other words, I have a method of mathematics problem solved, but you have some other method. We both will argue. No, my method is correct. No, your method is wrong. So argumentative, in this we get scientists thinking. Incidental learning is unplanned, unintentional. We are having a word together. You tell me something about a content. I'll say, yeah, this is correct. So I can come to an incidental learning. Context based learning is learning by experience and the content what you have. It should be relevant, it should be related to the topic, and which we already know in a typical mindset. I'm sticking to this. You will say, no, this can be done this way also. This can be helping by making notes, conversations, modifying the nearby object. This can be done like this as well. Computational thinking. It's the most powerful approach to thinking and problem solving. It involves breaking the huge problems into small sections, decomposing delegation, and coming to a whole answer. This aims to teach children the structural problems that can be solved. Computational thinking can be taught as a part of mathematics too. Learning by doing science. with the remote labs. I'm sitting here learning by doing science, engaging and authentic scientific tools and remote lab, of course, like robotic arms. This is basically the scientific temperament what they take up. Embodied learning involves self-awareness. Embodied learning is self-awareness, interacting with real and stimulated world objects. In space, when they send a particular missile or something, they have this kind of technology. They work with the technology answers them, and they build a system. Black box testing in a plane. Example. Adaptive learning, learners from different culture background come together, put their thoughts. Adaptive systems, the best place to start new content, I must say, or review the old content. Adaptive. What you say, I can adapt to that particular situation. Analysis of emotions. This is not the AI, so analysis of emotions can be taken up and a study. And the last part one is in this is stealth assessment. If you can see that yellow corner, the automatic data collection that goes in the background when the students work with rich digital environments can be applied here. Unobstructive stealth assessment. Stealth assessment borrows techniques from online role playing. I hope we all have played a game where the cars work and we play with them and we come to an obstruction. Stealth assessment. If you have questions, you can come to it because I'm not going to the messages. Can we go to the next slide, please? Innovative teaching methods. Yeah, this is very important and self understood. Project based learning, flipped classroom session. I hope we know what is flipped classroom session, but I'll still tell you. A methodology that can help teachers to prioritize active learning during class time by assigning students materials in hand. So you can study them or presentations which are viewed outside the class and can be discussed in the class. Flipped classroom, both together. Crosswords, MCQs, and MOOCs. MCQs. Then we have experiments based learning, activity based learning. Give them a content, let them do the activity. Simulation, that car game which I told you, virtual labs, black box testing example, blended learning, a hybrid method of both. Can we go to the next one? It's a advanced version of the same slide. Hybrid, flipped, virtual, traditional, online. What can I take up is based upon according to the content which I am going to explain you. Yeah, next slide, please. Because I have only 7 minutes. Pedagogical skills required by teachers, communication being the most important one. See, I don't know anything about the content, but if I have a good communication skill, I'll come to you and I'll explain you and you gain the knowledge. Adaptive. A facilitator, in other words, I must say, should be adaptive to every situation given to. If my technology is not working and I'm for an online session, I'll mute, I'll switch off my video and go ahead with the session. Adapt to the situation, flip, do whatever, but go ahead with the class. Collaborative effort between the student and the teacher is very important. Keep the inclusivity burning between the students so they will come back to your class. Otherwise, no one will come. Compassion, students' personal lives can sometimes affect their ability. Yes, until unless you don't know what is going on back of their minds or in their personal lives, we are not we don't generate a compassion towards them. If I know a particular situation of a particular child, monetarily or physically or mentally, I then become more compassion, develop a compassion towards the child. Okay, can we go to the next slide, please? Pedagogical skills. The most important part: listen, read, write, present, and discuss. When you discuss, you can come to know the different aspects of the same topic. Listen, pre-class, in class, and the activities which are going on. Read, I must say three things in this: head, heart, and habit. Put your head into reading, heart into reading, make it a habit. 3H. Again, pre-class, in a class, and assessments, right. Nowadays, we don't have, I must say, a habit of writing. Preparation, reflection, and activity goes together. If you prepare, given an activity, you prepare, you reflect. So listen, read, write, present, and discuss are the most important methods, I must say, or the skills we should require or we should develop to come to a conclusion of a topic. What we do is we only speak. We don't listen. Until unless we don't listen, we will not discuss. Okay, can we go to the next slide? The final thoughts. I have a conclusion, but yeah, the final thoughts on the presentation. The preparation of the content should be thorough. How it should be presented and delivered. The most important method we should select. Principles of how the learners learn. We should come to that level. How does a learner, which approach he or she is taking up? The creative of cognitive psychology based learning processes. Of course, yes. Evaluation of learning process to check its value, that what we are trying to give to the students or the end party, has it reached in a positive way, and the outcome what we generate is what we expected. If the outcome is not what we expected, we have to start from the scratch again. So quality is very important. Delivering way method is very important. And the content again is very important. Okay, can we have the last slide, please? Conclusion. The well thought modern day pedagogy is a complete interrelation of the concepts, ideas, along with the ways of teaching the students. These all go hand in hand. Okay. The well thought, it indicates that these practices have direct involvement with the students' achievements, results, and skills developed after following the approach. A blend variety of teaching should be taken up together, which makes them understand the things in a more better way. Yeah, learning becomes more effective and knowledgeable only when we go with the flow. What the facilitator is telling us, we should understand it and we should put into practice. Use of technology brings in a lot more fun. Yeah, of course, and agreed to. I think even you all will agree. But we should be restricted to the things what we are looking at the learning part. Okay, can we go to the last slide, please? Yeah, thank you so much. Now I'll go on to the question answer sessions.